Soap time! Woo woo woo! Let's make Golden Cardamom Cream Soap. This smells so good. This is one of my Christmas soaps, and this is actually going to be a much longer video. So if you like these process videos, hang in there. If not, you can just skip to the end for the cut. This is going to be a sort of stream of consciousness video. I'm just going to try and share what I'm seeing. So my first step for this soap is I'm actually trying to make like a horizontal design. I've been using this horizontal swirl for a really long time, but my first step is to always lay down a little bit of batter when I'm doing this. So I put down that, it looks like plain batter, but it's actually fragranced with this scent, which is going to turn a dark brown. So I'm factoring that into my design. So one thing about this soap, which I don't think a lot of people realize, is that it matters which way you pour your soap. So you can see I'm pouring it sort of like vertically. I could turn my mold and pour it that way. But my goal right now is I'm creating these sort of lines. So when I cut it at a cross section, you're going to actually see those lines like across the front of the bar of the soap. If I poured it the other way, you'd see all these drop swirls. So keep that in mind. We're going for like lines in the soap. For this design, I wanted my soap to have like an even distribution of color, so that's why I layered it as I did, but I could have done a more color blocked version, and that's also very beautiful. I've done it before. And this is really where the design comes together with this hanger swirl tool, because I'm going back and forth across those lines that we made earlier, and it's just making the lines even straighter. If I didn't do that, the lines would probably be a little uneven, and you'll see that at the end. And now, not to really waste any soap, because anytime you pour soap out of a container, it's going to leave like the residual, like it's just going to get stuck to the container, and there's always waste involved. So I try to minimize the waste and use every little bit of soap that I can. And any extra soap that I have, I just put into these little molds for my own personal use. A lot of times I don't actually have an idea what I'm going to do for my top design on my soaps, because a lot of times it depends on how thick your batter is. And this batter was behaving pretty well. So because it was behaving well, I was able to make the determination like at the end. It's like, okay, well, I can do a more fun sort of swirly design on this. And I was able to get nice, like even layers. By putting these lines here, it's really going to help create a sort of symmetry on the top of your soap. I know a lot of people just sort of pour their soap into their molds and just sort of like smush it all together. And I've never been that way. I've always been someone who likes to have like symmetry in the design. I think it just looks really cool. And actually, I was adding gold to the top here, and I ran out, and I was like, no! So I had to create some more, and I think it still turned out cool. I had extra, so I was like, okay, we're going to add actually more lines of gold than I would normally use, but that's the sort of just like rolling with it, which you sort of have to do when you're doing soap making. I'm not sure why I decided to do this sort of swirl design on the top, because, you know, like I said, I just sort of like roll with it, and I'm not upset at it though, because after I did this, I was like, oh, the first row I did 5 swirls, and the next I did 4 swirls, but I kind of went back in and added some swirls to it, and it just turned out so cool looking. I've done sort of the swirl design, but when you do it with some symmetry involved, it's stunning, gorgeous. Okay, and here we are the next day for the cut, and I mentioned it's going to turn dark brown. You can see the top of the soap. That's the color of the soap once it cures. And for whatever reason, the top always turns. If it's going to discolor, it's going to be on the top. And the inside, which isn't exposed to air, is going to take a little while. And I can tell it's going to discolor dark brown because of the inside. That sort of natural colored batter is a yellow color. And that always is like, it's going to be dark, dark brown. And we've reached the part of the show where if you enjoyed watching this, I would really appreciate a like, a share, a follow, any of that, even just a comment. I really love making soap, and I spend a lot of time sharing how I do it with people, and I'm not the best at like selling or plugging, but this is actually available on my website right now, and I make amazing soap that makes your skin feel absolutely fabulous. Go check it out. Thanks for watching.